So today we are going to dethatch our yard. This is going to be using the Greenworks DT40B00. This is a 40-volt dethatcher. What's a dethatcher? I actually didn't know. This was not something I had ever done before. So as you mow your yard, as time goes on, grass clippings, pine cones, you know, plants, little dandelions, things like that, they build up as a layer on your grass. Usually it's just a little bit below the grass, you know, grass blades that you see coming up out of the lawn. But this can build like kind of a carpet in your lawn. And again, this was all news to me, right? I'm one of those people that just kind of mow the lawn every week and hope for the best. But this can really stifle the growth of your lawn, apparently. So enter the Greenworks Dethatcher. We just picked this up. I've actually already dethatched half the lawn. But what's cool about this dethatcher is it can actually do two functions. It is a dethatcher, so it has, effectively it's like a power rake. So it's got tines on the inside that rotate and literally scrape things off the lawn. They dig down and scrape up all that dead debris and they lift it up to the top. You can either bag it or you can actually leave it on the lawn and leaf blow it, or maybe drive over it with your lawnmower to collect it later. And then the other function is an aerator. So it has another bar that you can swap out for it, which is called a set of scarifiers, or a scarifier bar. That allows you to aerate your lawn. Again, a step that I've never done, but apparently it's gonna have a huge effect on the quality of your lawn. And that is what we're gonna do today. I've already dethatched half the lawn. We're gonna try the scarifier today, and then we're gonna do some seeding. We've only done half the yard. I'll show you that in just a moment. And we're gonna see how the dethatched and scarified side of the lawn performs compared to the side that hasn't been touched at all. Let's see how it goes. So, first things first, as you can see here, we have the dethatcher attached to the Greenworks right now. And again, you can see these tines, these little rake-like tines that will scrape along the grass, lifting up all that dead debris and bring that to the top. But we can't use this for scarifying, or these aren't the scarifiers, and we can't use it for aeration. So we're gonna have to take this bar off and put the scarifiers on so we can go ahead and aerate the lawn. So in order to do this, you'll have to flip over the Greenworks, and it's very important that you remove the battery. You do not want any chance that this could turn on and start spinning while you're operating on it. So keep the batteries out. There's also a little red key that you can remove that will actually ensure that even if there were a battery, it is physically disconnected and cannot power the motor. I would say just don't have the battery in there entirely. Just don't even risk it. So in order to get the bar out, you'll notice on the right-hand side, if you have it flipped over, there is a little toggle that you can kind of pull to the left. You'll see a little unlock and lock symbol. If you pass that to the left, you'll notice that there's an arm here that you can actually pivot out. You just peel that back. And then with that, you can actually slide the entire assembly to the right and then lift on the one side, and then it comes right out. So once we have the scarifiers, you'll notice there are two ends to the assembly. You have one end with a bit that can fit into the drive side with the motor. You'll have another end with a plastic bearing that you can use, that you actually slide into the right, and that's where it will spin freely. So in order to get this in, you have to line it up so you can get the plastic bearing over on the right side, line up the toothed side on the left with the drive, and then slide the whole assembly to the left. And it will click into place. Once that's clicked over to the left, you want to take that arm and click that right back down. It will click and lock in place, and then you're all set. Time to go aerate. So as I mentioned, we've got two halves to the lawn. One side that we have dethatched, and so you'll notice that it's a little lighter in color. It actually is shorter as well. The dethatcher it's kind of like a really inefficient lawnmower. It'll actually not simply rip up the thatch layer and bring it to the surface, but it'll even cut the lawn a little bit. And so you'll end up having fresh clippings in there as well. I think that's okay. We'll find out. That's all about the test. The other side, it's the lawn untouched, but it shows really clearly some of the problems that we're having with the lawn. You can see there are some bare spots. We've got areas where the good grass is not growing through as readily anymore. And that's what we're trying to solve for. We're trying to rip up, you can see some of these yellow areas here. We're trying to rip up that thatch and open up the lawn, aerate it, and then create a better environment for us to seed, to overseed, and really regrow and get a much healthier lawn. So we're gonna grab the Greenworks, we're gonna aerate this side of the lawn, and then we'll follow up by seeding. See how it turns out. So I just want to emphasize, I've never done this before. And that looks like it's taking an awful lot of grass and ripping it out. I'm gonna go on faith. I think this is the right thing to do. So let's keep at it. Okay, we're done. Again, not totally sure about this. The Greenworks ripped a lot of material out of the ground. You can see it's clumped up on the top of the grass now. Quite a bit. Looks like both fresh grass, dead grass, yellow and green. Ultimately, I'm questioning whether or not I dethatched deep enough. So on the Greenworks, you do have multiple depths. You can go anywhere from 1/4 inch above grade, I guess, above zero, down to -1/4, -3/8, and then -5/8. Just for the record, I dethatched this yesterday at -1/4 inch. So there's a lot more material that's gotten ripped up and brought to the surface with the aeration process, which makes sense. I don't know if you've seen when people get their lawns kind of, aerated by a more industrial grade tool, you tend to see those holes, right, that they drill in the ground and they rip those things up. So you'll see some material get ripped up out of the ground without a doubt, but it's quite a bit. So I think the interesting thing here is going to be, do we leave the material on the grass? I can hear some of you probably out there saying, no, take it off. You don't know what you're doing. You're gonna kill your grass in a lot of different random little spots. I am going to leave it. And my rationale as to why is because I don't have a good means to take it off. So I'm gonna leave it. My leaf blower is just a battery powered leaf blower that we've typically just used for the deck. So it's unfortunately not gonna be powerful enough to blow all this off the grass. And our lawnmower, we do have a zero turn, but unfortunately we do not have the barrels on the back to collect the clippings. So that is something we're planning on getting, so that way we can collect all these clippings and be able to dump them elsewhere rather than leave them on the grass. But unfortunately we don't have any of that at the ready today. So this is why we're A/B testing it. If this doesn't go so well, we'll get it right with this half. So we're gonna see how this goes. Let's go and do some overseeding. Okay, well, we're done overseeding. So for the record, just for anybody that's aware, that's curious, we're using the Jonathan Green Black Beauty Ultra seed. We're in New England, up in Maine. So this is supposed to work very well in this area and for this climate. Ran it on the Scott's seed spreader at a 7, which is the recommended number from Jonathan Green. Was able to get full coverage of the entire area that we just aerated, so that looked pretty good. Ultimately, we're gonna have to wait and see. There are a lot of clumps, pretty big clumps, the ones that I'm feeling like I would love to rake and maybe clean up and take away, but again, it's a large area, you know, I'm probably not gonna go do that today. Again, let's just roll with it as it is, see how it goes. I don't know, let's see. And then we'll end up tackling the second half afterwards, depending on how this goes. So check back in a couple of weeks and we'll post an update video and we'll show you how it turned out. Should be interesting. Thanks for watching.